Ladies and gentlemen, would you please help me bring on JC Incorporated with a controlled loud noise starting here?
Squashed pomegranates, raisins, fig cakes, and apricots that money could buy. And my doves, my lovely little doves, all broke out of their cages going up and down the heavens like a ladder full of Jacob's angels. Oh, and it wasn't only me, you know. Oh, no. The money changers come in for it as well. Up went their tables, down went their trays, and spondylus from all over the world were swilling like a river across the courtyard. And who did it to me? Who did it, do you suppose? Tell me. No, don't tell me. I'll tell you. Why, it was this madman that's come amongst us. That's who did it. Maddest man I've ever seen in all my life. And I've come across a few cranks in my time, but never anybody as mad as this fellow. You know what? He said that we were making the temple like a robber's cave. Now, I ask you, do I look like a robber? A thief? More like a beggar now that I'm forced to trade in the streets like this. Somehow we've got to figure a way to get rid of this Nazarene preacher because he's causing havoc everywhere. You know they won't even let him into the synagogues anymore because he is such a heretic. This Jesus they call the Messiah, the one we've been waiting for so many years. I don't believe it. He pulls some trickery of healings and miracles. But to me, all he's done is run me out of my business. And I've got to figure out a way to get back up into the temple and back to selling my goods so I can earn an honest living in God's holy house. Now, how might I do this? Get rid of this Jesus, this madman. Can you think of any ways? Please, tell me. No, don't tell me. I'll tell you. Because I've got an idea. I've got a friend. Really, he used to be my best friend until about 3 years ago. 3 years ago, he started trailing around with the Nazarene. I don't know why he did it. He gave up his job, left home, and followed this preacher. But before he left, I did a number of favors for my good friend. And now that he's in the in-group with Jesus, I think I'm going to call some of those favors back. Yes, I think I'll go get my friend, and he'll help me out in getting rid of this Jesus. I'll go get my friend now. I'll go get my friend Judas. Judas! Judas! Judas!
much is your relationship with your own mother or father like your relationship with your Heavenly Father? Well, I'd like to reintroduce a man who discovered an insight into who God is by working puzzles with his father. Brian Hitch led him to the Lord on November 4th, 1974, by asking him to a concert. He said no, but changed his mind and went. That night, he accepted the Lord that they also used to perform drama skits and concerts together when they came home from Judson College during the summers. Now, for your entertainment, here's Jeff Cooper.
Oh, you got it! Oh, I turned 35 last week. I can't take warm-ups like that anymore. Tell you what, tell me when the other team gets here. I'm going to sit down here and rest for a little while. Oh, I can't take it anymore.
A piece of a jigsaw puzzle. Somewhere somebody's got a mountain range with a peak missing. Or the signing of the Declaration of Independence without Thomas Jefferson. I haven't seen one of these in a long time. That's funny, too, because I kind of grew up with puzzles. I can still remember my dad hunched over the card table in the living room, piecing together some puzzle of a New England coastline or Mount Rushmore or some faraway exotic place. You know, he almost always got one for Christmas. He'd spend hours working on it. After he'd finished the puzzle, sometimes he'd glue all the pieces together and frame it, and all us kids would applaud, and Mom would file the picture with the rest in the back of the hall closet. Mom said that working puzzles kind of helped him to relax. Maybe it was supposed to, but I could never resist sneaking into the room when I thought he wasn't looking, reaching up on the table and stealing a piece of the puzzle, and making a mad dash to escape unnoticed. I'd wait impatiently just around the corner. Finally, the puzzle would be finished, and Dad would act surprised and call out, "I can't find the last piece of the puzzle. The most important piece of the puzzle is missing." And before he even finished, I'd almost go running in, waving the piece of puzzle in my hand and laughing, and he never, ever seemed to get impatient or angry with me about that. He'd just grab me up to his lap, and he kind of chuckled as I proudly took that last piece of the puzzle and shoved it into place. He would always tell me that I was the most important piece to him. The picture wasn't complete without me in it. I guess like any other kid my age, I couldn't imagine any place in the whole world that's safer than on my father's lap with his arms around me. I suppose I was a little bit different than most kids, though. See, I grew up in the church. I was sort of a professional religious person. We were always the last ones to leave church on Sunday mornings, and I was playing shepherds in Christmas plays almost before I could talk. I'll never forget the time that my mom put my King Herod beard on with airplane glue. For a week, I was the only kid in third grade who looked like he was 45. Mom and Dad believed in being involved in the church. They believed in things like prayer, not to mention God's will and acting spiritual. I never really realized as I was growing up how important all of that was to my parents. Why, they centered their lives around God. Oh, sometimes I got tired of it all, but I kind of like the secure feeling that church gave me. And I was content for my parents to take care of me and watch out for me in these matters, at least until I got a little bit older. And then I still didn't mind going to church that much. It was just that there were a lot of other things I wanted to do. My family didn't seem to realize that you can only take so much in one thing. You know what I mean? Well, my brother and sister really didn't help the situation much either. They were always winning something or other. No matter how hard they tried, they were always well liked. I think Mom and Dad thought they couldn't do anything wrong, so I tried to be like them. But, man, I just couldn't get that enthused over Sunday school contests and piano lessons and good grades and all that stuff. Then pretty soon my brother and sister left home, went to college. My dad started working more hours, and we hardly spent any time together. I hardly ever saw him putting a puzzle together anymore. Well, the time we did spend together was spent discussing the sort of earth-shaking issues of adolescence. Like most kids, I was convinced that my parents had never been my age in their life. Sure, they tried to use words like groovy and neat and cool and awesome and totally rad and all that stuff, but, you know, it's just not the same coming from Mom and Dad. Well, between their work and my friends in school, we just didn't spend any time together anymore. I didn't spend that much time at church either. I suppose Mom and Dad thought I'd automatically follow in their footsteps. But there were things that I wanted to start doing for myself. I had some big plans for my life. There were so many things I thought that Jeff wanted to do and be. But I guess my friends weren't filled with the same lofty aspirations. They made it a lot easier for me to settle for good times and relationships that didn't require very much of me. Integrity and discipline kind of took a back seat. Now, don't get me all wrong. All my friends weren't dopers or completely without morals. They just didn't have much depth to their lives. I mean, I just really didn't know what they were living for. You know, I guess all those jigsaw puzzles, seeing those when I was young and doing those with my dad, kind of gave me an eye for color and symmetry. Seemed like I could draw or illustrate just about anything. I had a lot of interests, but artistry was the thing that interested me most, because I always liked photographers and writers and poetry and art, and besides, it was one thing that nobody else in my family was interested in or could do, except for me. About this time, my friends got a great idea. They said, let's take off and travel all around the country, or maybe even Europe. Forget mom, forget school, forget all the hassles. I told my mom it was the thing that people like Hemingway did when they were young. Well, Mom and Dad weren't too sure it was such a great idea. Something about maturity and discipline. So they decided it would be wiser if we waited until I was a little older. To them, it wasn't such a big deal. I couldn't believe it. I was sure this was my big chance to get out and discover who I really was. It was my big career opportunity. You know, I could practically see my own mansion with a Mercedes or Lamborghini parked in front of it. Well, for me, it felt like a quest for independence. But suddenly, it seemed like all my life, my parents were trying to keep me from doing the things that I wanted to do. This was my chance to prove that I was something special, not just my brother and sister. But they seemed to be trying at every turn to make me into somebody I didn't want to be. I remember running into the living room and blurting out, "You don't understand me, do you?" Surprised, they both look up and start to respond, but I just wouldn't listen to them. I just kept yelling and said, "You're ruining my one chance for success. You don't even care what I want to do." Dad smiled kind of tiredly and said, "Well, son, it's just that we prayed about it, and we thought it would be best." What's best? How do you know what's best? How do you know what's best for me or for anybody? Well, you spent your whole life at a lousy job and working those stupid puzzles. How can you tell anybody else what's best? And I saw a look of hurt in his eyes. A look like I had never, ever seen before. But words of frustration and anger kept pouring out of me. And I wanted to call him back, but I couldn't. I'm going to make something of myself out of my life, and I don't need you. I'm sick of you, I'm sick of your narrow life, and I'm sick of those endless puzzles. It would have been nice if I could have made some big dramatic exit. But I didn't. I kind of stuck around until I finished school, and then one day while Mom and Dad were off at work, I wrote them a letter, said goodbye, and I left. I never really knew why any of it happened. It made no sense to me at all. All I knew was that I felt a little lost and empty inside. And not my freedom or anything that I wanted was important enough for that to happen. Well, I got a job kind of doing the things that I wanted to. I did all right, I guess. Wherever I went in my travels, I'd always drop Mom and Dad a card at Christmas time filled with meaningless news. And they'd respond with a letter of some kind of family chatter and things about themselves, but it just wasn't the same. Sure, I wanted to go back sometimes, but I just couldn't. At least not until the other day when I got this call. It could have been like some big melodramatic scene out of some movie or television show like Days of Our Lives, like when Jack is in the hospital and he gets the kidney from his brother Steve, who he doesn't really know is his brother. You know that whole story? This was sort of like that. It was my sister on the other end of the phone who wasn't supposed to be telling me that it was my father who went into the hospital. I walked into a dimly lit hospital room and I saw my father lying there. My mother was sitting beside him, clutching his hand. And she looked up at me and smiled very weakly, tears coming down her eyes. I just stood at the end of the bed. I couldn't say anything. I stared at my father. Suddenly, I got a picture of 3 little kids running into our father's room. We were so excited about what lay downstairs on Christmas morning, and we were whispering, and it woke Mom up, and she would always try to motion to us to be quiet so as not to arouse Dad. But our giggled responses would wake him up soon enough, and he'd offer a groggy, "Ho, ho, ho, Merry Christmas, children, ho, ho, ho." Then we'd all troop downstairs. You know, I can always remember that as I saw him sleeping there, how wise and how peaceful he looked. And yet I knew that when he woke up and took us downstairs, that he would always know exactly what I wanted or needed. Those were moments when I never, ever could imagine my life without my dad in it. After I left home, and my friends used to say to me, "So what about you and your dad?" That's the way it is in a lot of families today. What's so important about you and your father sharing your lives? Well, when I saw my father lying there, it was important to me. I bent over the side of the bed. I gathered my arms around him. I said, "I'm sorry, Dad. I never, ever meant to hurt you. I just wanted you to..." He couldn't hear me. Suddenly, I knew he would never hear me. And for some reason, I thought of all of those times when he used to put those puzzles together, and I'd come running in with that most important missing piece, and he'd grab me up into his lap and put his arms around me. He'd tell me how much God loved me, and that he thought I was important. He told me that God would be sad as long as I was missing, and that my life would always feel a little lost and empty. But right there, holding my father, I felt how incomplete my life had been without his love in it. I know how much I hurt him. You know, I think I know now because of that how God must feel. During all my struggles and trials to discover who I was, God was always standing there with his arms open wide, waiting for me to bring the most important piece of the puzzle back to him. Maybe it's time. Maybe it's time to give it all up and let him put it back together for me. Huh? Yeah, all right. I'll be up in just a minute. God, if you're still missing a piece, I just want to say I'm sorry. I never meant to leave you. But I'm here now. I'm here. Yeah, I'm coming. Good evening. My name is Jeff Cooper, and I am the narrator in this play. This is Melissa Allen, and she will be playing a girl named Mary. The other man is Glenn Perry, and both he and I will be playing several different roles. And you, the viewers, may find yourself playing various roles as well. For you see, you are in this thing with us. There are no innocent bystanders. This is the people versus Jesus Christ, and you now attend the trial. Something has brought you here tonight, either your will or the will of God, but you are here, and there's a reason why you're here. At times you may feel strange, for this is no ordinary trial. You may feel uncomfortable and strange, as though you walk with phantoms in a dream. And if you suffer a little, remember, the one we're concerned with here tonight suffered vastly more. Well, you have entered the courtroom with the trial already in progress. The attorney for the prosecution speaks.
As attorney for the prosecution, I would like to cross-examine the star witness for the defense.
Proceed, prosecution.
Now, Miss Mary, you believe to be having dreams which the defense thinks are relevant to the case?
Not dreams. One dream. The same dream night after night.
Well, what dream? What dream?
The prosecution wants to know about your dream, Mary.
No.
You took an oath, Miss Mary.
I know. So help me God. I wish to God there was a God somewhere.
Now the court must remind you, Mary, that what you say or fail to say could mean the difference between a verdict of guilty or not guilty.
How can you try a man who's been dead 2,000 years?
Well, ask the people.
The witness will kindly answer the questions, not ask them.
Now, Your Honor, the prosecution wishes to establish why she dreams the same strange dream night after night, but more than that, I would like to hear the dream.
No.
Your Honor.
I'd like to take you there. I'd like to take you there, in the depth of dream. I'd like to see how you would act. How all the people in this court would act there in the shadows. In the shadows. It all seems so long ago, so far away, and yet it's here and now. Early in the morning, when the stars are brightest, I steal out from my father's house to be alone here in the meadow. And then my meadow swings around, and I can say, "Good morning, stars. Good morning, sweet and fragrant meadow. Good morning, meadowlark. The moon's a little late tonight. Good night, sweet Lady Moon. Hurry down to sleep behind the sea, for we must say good morning to the sun. And he too is late, but I can wait. The stars, the earth, and I wait on forever. But what is it, stars? What is it that we're waiting for?"
Mary?
Yes, Father, I'm out here.
Mary?
I can't quite see you. The morning mist. Oh, did Mother send you for me? She'll scold again, I know. It seems I never can quite live up to all that she expects of me. But you're not like that. You like me as I am and like to laugh with me, and that's why I love you. You're not my father. Are you the herdsman, the one who's come to tend my father's flock?
You know me, and you do not know me. You know that I am here and cannot quite believe that I exist.
In the days of our forefathers, there were angels. But that was far, far back in the time of Jacob and Abraham. And some say it was only legend.
And some, like you, believe, or want to,
in angels?
in me and in my message.
Oh, if you were an angel with a message, you were looking for someone else, not me.
Then why do you travel in the netherworld of night, if not to meet me here?
To feel the summer dew beneath my feet, to touch the stars.
And to meet me here.
No, I hardly know you. Yet I remember you. I remember you from other nights, from other dreams of other nights.
You've always known. There in your heart, you've always known.
Oh, there is the longing to know, but I'm not sure what it is I long to know.
And that is why I come. You journey through the stars of time to find that which is within you, Mary.
The way you say my name, it's like a song, like a fragment from a song. And there is something within me. It's true. Something that was not there before.
For behold, a maiden shall conceive.
How can this be? I'm engaged to Joseph, but Joseph has never been with me. No man has.
Many mysteries are still hidden from the minds of men.
No, let me wake now. Let me be somewhere else, or in some other time, or someone else.
For behold, you shall bear a son, and his name shall be called Wonderful.
No.
Counselor.
No.
The Almighty
No.
God, the Everlasting
No.
Father,
No.
the Prince of Peace.
No. I'm alone. There's no one here. Nothing has changed. The meadow is here. The stars grow faint. The hills take shape. Nothing has changed. Joseph.
I came by on my way to work. Your father said I might find you out here.
Help me, Joseph. I'm afraid.
Afraid of what?
It's hard to explain.
It's best you tell me, Mary.
Tell you? Tell you what?
I heard voices as I was coming across the field.
My voice. You heard my voice.
Talking to yourself?
I do sometimes. I'd never deceive you, Joseph. You must know that.
A man's got to trust the girl he means to marry. But why do you come out here before the crack of dawn in the middle of nowhere?
To be alone. To listen to the morning giving birth to earth. And be alone.
Well, if that's what you say, I'm going to get going.
Joseph, wait. Touch me first. I need a human touch. I need the warm feel of human flesh. Your hand in mine.
God knows I want to, Mary. I want to hold you and touch you. But all that's for after, when we're married.
Oh, but in our hearts we're married now. You said so once, the night my father gave consent.
It's true enough. But I tell you, I'd feel better if I knew. I heard voices.
Joseph, you work with things, with wood and stone and tools and things, and you haven't any time for things that aren't things.
What sort of things?
Oh, voices and visions and angels.
Angels? Is that all you've got to talk about with our wedding coming up? Angels? Why, you're dreaming. You're walking and you're sleeping, you're
Joseph,
dreaming.
No. Don't say it's a dream. I might wake and find it all is, even you. A moment ago when he was here, I wanted
A moment
it to
ago
be
when
a dream.
who was here?
You were angry with me.
I will be. If you don't tell me the truth, I tell you I heard voices. No talk of angels now, Mary. I want to know the truth.
The truth for you is only things you can touch. Wood and boards and nails and things you can touch, and me you will not touch. Touch me, Joseph, and let me be truth for you.
I hurt inside. I've got a name to think of in this town. I catch you talking to the herdsman. It must have been the herdsman. You talk of talking with an angel. You tell me nothing I can believe. I've got to get going on to work.
Joseph, wait! I don't want to be a memory in a dream.
Go touch your angel. Try touching him.
Excuse me. You're Joseph, I believe. They
What?
told me I might find you here.
I'm Joseph. Who are you?
If I were to tell you, you'd say I don't exist. So let's just say I'm some sort of messenger.
Is this the man I heard you talking
This
with?
is the angel. Now do you believe me, Joseph?
Believe he is an angel? What kind of a fool do you take me for?
Well, now, that depends. Just what kind are you?
No man can make a fool of me.
No man but you.
This
And
gr-
you've no need to, really.
This girl is my intended wife. Or was. And if you've been seeing her, if you've been meeting her, why
Joseph, no!
Settle all with
no.
violence. How long, O Lord, will they try to settle all of their pitiful problems with violence?
Joseph, try to believe. I know it's hard for you, but try.
Try to believe he is an angel? I'm not that crazy.
Oh, dear, I must be slipping.
Mary, there are no angels.
No, not for you, son. For you, there are no angels. Not yet. Not yet.
Well, seeing as how things are between you two, I'm going to get going.
Joseph, wait.
I hurt inside. I hurt, and nothing helps a hurt like work. I got to get my hands on some tools.
Yes, son. Makes good sense. And why you build that house that you meant
How
to
did you
build
know
for-
that?
Joseph, try to follow. I wanted to explain to you, but this is all strange, like a dream. And you were dark and far from me with doubts.
Do you expect me to believe in miracles?
Yes, in miracles. The miracle of life, the miracle of love, the miracle of God. For God so loved the world that he gave the world life. Waken your mind to mystery, Joseph. For behold, your maiden shall conceive and bear a son, and his name shall be Emmanuel, God with us.
If what you say is true, you must have some sort of power to prove it to me. Mary, if what he says is true, if what you say is... He's gone. Vanished into thin air. God of great Abraham, it's true, Mary. It's true. There you go, big girl.
No vacancies. I told you no vacancies. I wish you'd move on.
But just a room for my wife, that's all I ask.
Is it my fault there's a housing shortage?
I don't mean to trouble you, sir, but the baby's coming sooner than we expected.
Oh, and that's my fault, I suppose.
Well, if you just might tell us where we might stay.
I don't know where to send you. Look, the whole town's overcrowded. Nothing, no vacancies, nothing. And if you're going to freeze to death, I just wish you wouldn't do it out here.
If it's the money that's the problem, I'd be glad to work up the difference.
No, it's not the money. But you must realize this is a business and not a charity center. I've got to look out for my own interest. You can't blame me for that. Now, I want you to move along because I don't want you freezing out here, all right? Tell you what. You can use the barn out back. There's fresh hay in the manger, nice, kind of clean in there. Cold, but...
Joseph, did you hear that?
That's great. How much do I owe you, sir?
Well, let's see. 14 divided by 7. Tell you what. Do you believe in miracles?
Well, I haven't before now.
Well, you do now. Because it ain't going to cost you a cent. I sure am nice. It ain't going to cost you a cent.
This is the night for which the whole world has waited forever.
I still can't believe it. They're calling our son a king. Amazing. And all this food those shepherds from the far hills brought. All these cakes and figs and breads. All kinds of wines. And cheeses, enough for an army. And they're still coming from places I've never heard of. Kings and caravans, talking about a star. And all these sweet and smelling spices. I just don't understand, Mary.
You will in time. Everyone will in time. Unless time runs out.
Very pretty. Very pretty. The shepherds, the angels, the wise men from the east, the star, and the Holy Family. Beautiful. Really beautiful. Why, thousands, millions tingle to the sound of it every year. What would Christmas be without it? Why, it's better than lighted trees. Better than streets and stores like a fairyland of decoration. Better even than Santa Claus. Better for some anyway, and for some, that's all there is. For some, for all too many, this is where the story ends. Now you can go home, you who want only the sweet, the pretty, the sentimental part. If Christmas means nothing more to you than sweet music and family reunions, Christmas pageants and a lot of food and a lot of presents, But wait. Don't go. Because there's more to the story. There's more to the dream. Mary's dream. There's more. And we, the people, need to hear it. Hurry! Bring that child and run for your lives.
What? Who are you?
No time for questions. Herod has orders out to kill every male child under 2 years old.
Well, they can't do this to my son. He's a king.
He's a king, but he's feared by a king. Why, old Herod fears this baby like he fears death. Now hurry, get going.
I don't understand.
Stick to the back roads until you get to Egypt. Keep moving. Go with God.
Go with God? If we go with God, why do we run? If there's a God, why do people run? Why is everybody running? And what are they running from?
The rest of the dream, Miss Mary. Stick to the rest of the dream.
No, this is the part I can't remember. It's dark and terrible, and I can't bear to remember.
You will aid the court and possibly the defendant.
No, what has he done? What have I done? How have I failed him?
Stay with the dream, Miss Mary. Stay with the dream.
Why should my boy be in trouble? Why should they arrest Jesus? Oh. Judas, go tell them.
Tell who?
Tell the Roman officials they've arrested Jesus.
I know.
It's a mistake. It must be. Go tell them.
No, they know.
They know what? What has he
Oh,
done?
ask Caiaphas. Ask any priest.
Judas, you're his friend.
His friend. Why, last night at supper, he told me... Oh, Mary, never mind. I gotta go.
Judas, wait. What's wrong?
Well, how would you like it if your best friend called you a traitor? I gave up a job, left home, lost a lot of good friends to trail around the country with him, and that's the thanks I get.
Judas, you're wrong, and you're wasting precious time. They've arrested him, and you can help. If they should take him before Pilate, I can't...
Before Pilate? Mary, that's ridiculous. Jesus is a fake, but he's a small-time fake.
Stop it!
No, it's true. 30 pieces of silver, that's the price they paid for him. The price of a cheap slave, 30 pieces.
You don't know that.
Well, don't I?
You don't know that.
I certainly do. 30 pieces of silver.
You?
Why not? He deserved it. Telling me I'd be the one to betray him.
And you took money? You
Yeah, why not? I don't fall for that blessed are the poor line. I've got my little nest egg stashed away now. And I'm going to have my day in the sun. And it won't be in his vague dream about a kingdom of heaven.
Judas, I'm so disappointed in you. So terribly disappointed.
Just stop it, Mary. That's all I've heard all my life. Well, now it's my turn to be disappointed. And I'm disappointed in Jesus and his whole crowd and his whole fantastic scheme. This is the stuff a man can count on. Money. Nobody can be disappointed by money.
Mary, find Mary Magdalene and the others. They're bringing Jesus before Pilate.
No, not before Pilate.
No, Peter, tell me what's happening.
No, they mean to put him to death. They mean to kill him.
No. Peter, we've got to help him.
Don't look at me, Mary.
Peter, you're his friend. You're the one he can count on.
Oh, yes, count on.
Here, take this money. Give it back to... No, I'll take it back. I'll not be the blame for this. I'm not to blame. Oh, God, I'm not to blame.
Peter, talk to me.
He can't count on me. He just can't. I'm there in the palace, in the courtyard of the palace of Caiaphas. A lot of us standing around warming ourselves by a fire. I'll rush in there. By all the prophets, I'll rush in there and take him from them. I start to. I mean to. A girl blocks my way. You're one of them, she says. Oh, no, I'm not. Yes, you are. You're one of the Nazarenes' party. No, I'm not. I tell you I'm not. She starts laughing. Others are laughing. Another man comes up. Yes, you're one of the Galileans' party. Stop that noise. Stop that noise.
Peter, wait.
Stop that noise.
Peter, look, the crowd. They're bringing Jesus before Pilate. Peter, Judas, wait.
Stop that
don't
noise.
Run. Wait.
Stop that noise. Stop that noise. My goodness, waking a man out of the middle of his sleep. What are you all doing here? You ought to be home in bed. Am I procurator here or night watchman? Caiaphas. Ah, there you are. What's the big idea about this? Why can't you and your priest run your stupid Sanhedrin? Getting me out of the middle of my sleep. What's this all about anyway? Who is this? Jesus? Jesus? Huh. Ain't he the one my wife's been talking about? Hands off him, she says. Leave him alone, she says. Ah, women. Well, you got me out here for a trial, so let's get on with it. The people versus Jesus of Nazareth. Is the attorney for the prosecution ready?
Attorney for the prosecution is ready.
And does the defense have an attorney? Does Jesus have an attorney?
I will defend him.
I object. Are we staging this trial as it was or as how someone believes it was?
This is the way it is now, and ever shall be until men come to their senses.
Well, I still object. This woman is
And
prejudiced.
so are you, and so are all who persecute the just and the innocent.
Well then, objection overruled. A trial's no fun without a little bit of prejudice. Proceed.
Your Honor, the accused is charged with healing on the Sabbath, agitating against the existing order, and with encouraging people to believe that he is the Son of God.
None of that concerns me. I thought he was a political enemy.
He is also charged with being a pacifist, an agitator, encouraging people to believe that he is the Son of God, and he is guilty of subversive teaching.
Subversive? Well, what'd he teach?
He taught love. He taught us to love our neighbors as ourselves.
There you have it. Ridiculous.
He even taught us to love our enemies.
Now that is really ridiculous. You want us to love our enemies while they get ready to blow us off the face of the earth.
Yes.
Well, you want them, you love them, and I'll hate them.
Hatred will destroy the hater, just as fear will destroy the coward. The sicknesses in men's souls come from the demon thoughts, the base emotions that he casts out.
Cast out on the Sabbath. If he's going to work miracles, he might as well do them within our ordinance.
Ah, this miracle business interests me. Tell me, could he work one for me?
He would say to you, "Go and sin no more."
If I did, that would be a miracle. Tell me, could he turn lead into gold?
He would say instead, "Seek first the kingdom of heaven, and all good things will be given to you."
Kingdom of heaven. Where's that?
Within you, or it can be.
And how do I get it?
You must be born again.
Huh, neat trick if you can do it. Why, this guy's nothing more than a street corner preacher with a lot of crackpot ideas. If you want a trial and a real hanging, bring in a real crook like that fellow, Barabbas.
No. The people want Jesus crucified. They want Jesus crucified.
Tell you what. You Jews have a ruling that I should release a prisoner on a holiday. And this is a Jewish holiday, I believe. So I will release Jesus.
Yes.
Or Barabbas.
Well, listen to the people. Release Barabbas, 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 Barabbas.
Why did I get mixed up in all of this?
Crucify him. Crucify Jesus. Crucify Jesus. Crucify Jesus. Crucify Jesus.
All right. But I wash my hands of the whole affair.
Crucify him. Crucify him. Crucify him. Crucify him. Crucify him.
What? Wait. Listen to me, you murderers of God. Listen to me, his mother. Listen, all you who kill and all you who allow killing. You are on trial here, not he. Not the Savior of man. You have crucified him again and again and again down through the ages. With every act of violence, with every act of selfishness, you have again crucified Jesus to the tree. Not the Jews of old. No, not Pilate, not Judas alone. But we have killed him. He who loved life, who brought it to all more abundantly. Jesus, my baby boy, is dead. This is the end of the world.
This is the end of Judas Iscariot. I hanged myself. I killed myself. Choked out the life that was in me. Destroyed the ego that destroyed my soul. This is the end. Yet there is no ending. The betrayal continues. The prosecutor presses the prosecution, and the betrayal continues. This is the end.
This is the end for Simon Peter. My heart still beats on in the empty shell of a man, but this is the end of me. But not the end of the denial. The cock still crows, and men still know that men in their hearts deny him. In the shops, in the streets, in the temples, in the homes, they deny him. At work and at play, in pleasure and in pain, they deny him. In the lawless denial of the law of love, they deny him. In the name of justice in the courts of the just, they deny him. Mary! Mary!
Peter. Peter, you and Judas, you who betray must be punished in hate. And yet, I cannot hate. I remember his words on the cross. Father, forgive them, he said, and I cannot hate.
Does this mean you can forgive me, Mary?
Yes, Peter. Forgiveness we have from him, and forgiveness I give to you. I must go tell Judas.
No, Mary. Judas has hanged himself.
Oh, no. Oh, Peter, Jesus would have forgiven him.
If only he could have known. Forgiveness. I must tell the others. Now I can weep with them.
Yes. Yes, weep. Alone or together. Weep we must, but weeping will not bring him back.
Mary, weep not, Mary.
Who are you?
You know me, and you do not know me. You know that I am here, and cannot quite believe that I exist. But weep not, Mary, for behold, I bring you glad tidings of a great joy. Jesus is not dead. He has risen from the grave. Jesus is alive. Christ lives.
Jesus is alive. Oh, take me to him.
He is here. He'll come to you.
Can I see him?
Yes, you can. Some will. Some must see in order to believe. Some must touch and feel his touch. Some must thrust their hands into his wounds in order to believe. But he is here.
He's alive.
He is alive. Jesus is alive.
He was always a presence. Even when he walked the sunlit hills of Galilee, he was a presence.
And presence is reality.
And now in the Father's house of many mansions, he walks the sunlit stars of earth. And he is a presence. Yes. A joyful, holy presence.
Hallelujah. Amen.
Your Honor and ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you've heard the testimony of this girl, and what does it all add up to? A dream. A frustrated, neurotic girl has had a dream. But in the realistic world today, we deal with facts. And the facts are these. This man, who claimed to be a god, has not returned to earth as he proclaimed he would. The love he spoke of is something of a myth, as men in the cold and calculating world today prove every day. The kingdom he prayed for, well, what of it? Instead, we have produced a technological civilization in which no man is king, but each would like to be. He prayed for peace. The angels sang of peace, the story goes. But still, men prepare for a war in which one day we could blast all earthly life into oblivion. You have heard this sullen, stubborn witness refuse testimony, refuse cooperation all throughout the trial, which is evidence of her own uneasiness and uncertainty in the defense. However, in all fairness, I shall ask one more question. What can you possibly say in defense of this man called Jesus?
Godlike, he walked the earth, and his presence here is man's last hope. As proof of this, I am not who I was, but who I am.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the play is now over, and it is time for you to enter chambers and render a decision. So if you each would now enter the chambers of your heart and mind, decide individually about the charge that Jesus claimed to be the Son of God. Will you find him guilty or not guilty? This court will remain in recess until Christ returns.
Think about what it is that you have to give to God this morning. There was a man in the Bible, thought he had nothing, and then God showed him what he had to offer and what he could use to be of service. This man met God way back in the wilderness. Old Moses, way back there in the wilderness, saw some smoke, came to the bush, but the bush was burning. God said, take off your shoes, Moses. You're on holy ground. Moses, I've chosen you to work for me. Moses, way down in Egypt land. Moses, I've chosen you to be my man. Moses, you gotta set my people free.
Not me, Lord. I can't talk so good. I spend all the time. Do you know my brother Aaron? Well, he can sing like an angel, talk like a preacher. Not me, Lord. I can't talk so good. And another thing, how will they know what you sent me to do? How will they know that I've been here with you? Don't you know in Egypt they want little Moses' head? Don't you know in Egypt, my God, they want me dead? Don't you know they'll never hear a single word I say? Maybe you'd better get your dirty work done another way. Not me, Lord.
What you got in your hand, Moses?
It's just a rod.
Throw it down, Moses.
Do you mean like on the ground?
Yes, I said throw it down, Moses.
Lord, don't take my rod away from me. Don't you know it's my only security? Don't you know when you live here all alone, a man's gotta have something he can call his own? Not me, Lord.
Throw it down, Moses.
But, Lord,
Throw it down, Moses.
But,
Throw it down, Moses. Well, Moses threw the rod on the ground, and the rod became a hissing snake. When Moses started running, I bet you would run. I know I'd run. He was running from a hot rod, running from a hissing snake, running scared of what the Lord's gonna do, running scared he'll get a hold of you. But the Lord said, stop. Pick it up, Moses, by the tail.
Lord, you have not lived here very long. Lord, you got this whole thing wrong. Don't you know that you never pick up a hissing snake by his...
Pick it up, Moses.
Oh, God. It's a rod again. God. It's a rod again.
the rod of Moses became the rod of God. Oh, with the rod of God, strike the rock and the water will come. With the rod of God, part the waters of the sea. With the rod of God, you can strike old Pharaoh dead. And with the rod of God, you can set the people free. What do you hold in your hand today? To what or to whom are you bound? Well, are you willing to give it to God right now? Give it up. Let it go, throw it down.
God has given you something. One thing. One purpose for you to be alive today. To be the age that you are. To have the parents and the family and the church and the school that you have. God has a purpose for you. And God has given you a hand like Jesus, or a rod like Moses, or the ability to play music like Brian, or the ability to do drama like Jeff, or the ability to pray, or the ability to be kind to those around you, the ability to not gossip but to uplift other people. God has given you one thing at least. But I want you to think about the one thing that God has given you most, to give back to Him and let Him turn whatever it is into something for His glory and His praise and His majesty. That stick represents your rod. In your mind and your heart right now, think about what that one thing is and put all the energy of that thought into that stick. That stick has become the one thing God has given you to share with His creation, to share with your friends and your enemies at school, at work, and at home. That stick has become the gift God has given to you. If you keep it and bury it, it dies. It burns in the fire and is gone forever. You've got to let it go. You've got to lay it down and let God do with it what He chooses. Now we're going to give you an opportunity. We're going to file out of here when we close, very orderly. And state board members will help us do that. We're going to go out by rows. We're not going to have you come up just yet, but I want you to keep all of this in mind. We're going to have our closing celebration. Steve's going to come up. Then when we file out, there's going to be a basket here. And that basket is God's basket. And I want you to throw your rod into that basket. As you walk by, say, God, here it is. This is my kindness. This is my voice This is my ability to run, and I give it to you and to your glory. I walk out of here committed to letting you have this one thing in my life. And after Steve talks, I'll come back out and give you the final instruction for that. And the Hitches will lead us in praise songs as we leave.